You learn how to quickly design an STL file that prints cleanly and fits a high-demand category for both physical and digital sales. We're in the hybrid workspace. Start by creating both components. Components give you cleaner assemblies, easier print setup, and access to animations. Create the component you'll work in last, so it's active and ready. Use the right-click menu to repeat your last action quickly. Once both components are in place, clean up the browser, then move on to the first sketch. The Edit in Place dialog appears because the components were created as external components. That setup makes them reusable across designs through insertion and linking. For this workflow, internal components are usually the better choice. They simplify navigation, reduce context switching, and avoid the extra prompts tied to external references. You don't need to match this setup exactly. Create the components as internal if you want a smoother experience while following along. A 100 by 60 mm footprint works well for a smaller bar of soap. If needed, you can always scale the STL proportionally in your slicer. You can extrude the profile as a solid and apply fillets afterward in the solid environment. That keeps the sketch clean. The trade-off is control. When you add fillets in the sketch, both the inner and outer corners are resolved automatically during the extrude, which can save time and keep the geometry consistent. Hit E for extrude without closing the sketch and set the height to 20 mm. That gives a solid balance between material use, print time, and overall proportions. You'll need two simple sketches for the outer pattern you saw earlier. Keep it fast here, just set up the sketches and move on. If you want more control later, define user parameters. It's optional, but it makes scaling, spacing, and iterations far easier once you start refining the design. I set this up twice instead of once because I'll use mirror later. Since the sides have different lengths, this approach is quicker and avoids extra adjustments after mirroring. Before adding the rectangular pattern, shell and chamfer the base. That way, the shell command ignores the pattern features. Otherwise, the internal walls become uneven and harder to control. Shell to 3 mm for a solid balance between strength, print time, and material use. This also gives you enough margin for the pattern, since the walls will thin slightly where the pattern is applied. Chamfer the bottom edges to improve bed adhesion and reduce sharp transitions. It prints cleaner and gives the final part a more refined look. Extrude the long side and the short side as separate features. This keeps the timeline clean and gives you flexibility when applying the pattern. I'll show two different pattern methods so you can see both approaches, but in practice you only need to use one. Pick the one that fits your workflow. Set the extend type to all so the cut passes through the entire body. Then take a quick look with the view cube to confirm direction and coverage before moving on. Set the rectangular pattern to features, pick a horizontal axis and switch the direction to symmetric so the pattern distributes evenly on both sides of the seed feature. Use extend for the distribution. That means you control the total span and the quantity, not the spacing directly. The side is 100 mm long. With 5 mm fillets on each end, you're left with 90 mm of usable length. That gives you a clean, centered distribution across the face. Set the quantity to an odd number. That keeps the pattern centered while still giving you an even count of features on each side of the original. Use mirror to place the same pattern on the opposite side. Select the pattern features from the timeline, since that is usually the easiest and cleanest way to pick the correct features. For the mirror plane, use the original vertical construction plane. The design was centered on that plane from the start, so the mirrored pattern lands exactly where it should. You now have the pattern on both sides. If you edit the original pattern or the cut features earlier in the timeline, the mirrored result will update with those changes. Make another extrusion on the short side. Set the extend to all, so future height changes to the soap holder are included automatically. Use the view cube to orient yourself, then start a rectangular pattern. This time, use the distribution setting. Set the spacing to 2.25 millimeters and the quantity to 23. Since each cut is 1 millimeter wide, this gives you 1.25 millimeters of space between each feature. The full pattern width becomes 50.5 millimeters from outside to outside. 23 1 millimeter cuts plus 22 spaces at 1.25 millimeters. Because the original footprint is 60 millimeters and the 5 millimeter fillets reduce the usable straight section to about 50 millimeters, this gives the short side a clean balanced layout similar to the long side. Use the construction plane in the middle to mirror the feature, just like you did on the long side. Well done. Let's continue and create the shelf that the soap tray will rest on. Create a new sketch on top of the soap holder. Project the top geometry into the sketch and leave projection link active, so future changes update automatically. Offset the projected geometry by 1 millimeter. Then use Extrude cut on the new profile and cut it down 5 millimeters. Great job keeping up. Finish editing this external component, then use Edit in Place to jump into the soap tray component. If you're working with internal components or bodies, just activate the correct component or body. We'll build the soap tray from the shelf you just created. Start a new sketch on the shelf surface. Project the profile, then offset the footprint 0.5 millimeters to create clearance between the tray and the base. There are several valid workflows from here, but here's one clean approach. Create a thin profile from your sketch, then use Press Pull to control the thickness. This keeps the feature simple and easy to adjust later in the timeline. Take a quick look at the offset face settings in the pop-up menu if you have trouble selecting all faces. Set the thickness to 2.5 millimeters. Together with the earlier 0.5 millimeter offset, that gives you a total of 3 millimeters, which prints reliably with standard nozzle sizes. Finish by adding a 2.5 millimeter fillet on the inner corners. This improves the look and gives the tray a more stable, durable structure. Continue with the sketch on top of the tray. Place a circumscribed polygon at the center origin and give it a radius of 3 millimeters. Use the keyboard shortcut L to create an additional line for the pattern. Press X to turn that line into a construction line. This makes it a helper line, not part of the final design. Rectangular patterns have pros and cons inside the sketch environment, but we'll use one here. Select the circumscribed polygon as the object, then use the origin axis and the construction line as your direction lines. Use the spacing setting for the pattern distribution here. It's easier to control and predict. Each polygon has a radius of 3 millimeters, which gives a diameter of 6 millimeters. Set the spacing to 7.6 millimeters. That leaves 1.6 millimeters between each polygon. This gap prints reliably with the standard nozzle and gives enough structural strength. Set the direction to symmetric for both directions so the pattern grows evenly from the center. Increase the quantity until the pattern clearly extends beyond the frame. Oversketching is fine here since you won't use every polygon in the final geometry. Confirm the honeycomb pattern sketch and continue within the same sketch. Project the outer boundary of the tray and keep it as a linked projection. This gives you a clean, parametric boundary that will control the honeycomb pattern. Finish the sketch and press E to go straight into Extrude. Select the honeycomb profiles inside the boundary and extrude them the same distance as the soap tray frame. Set the operation to join if you want a single solid body. If you plan to work with multicolor, 3D printing or export flexible free MF setups, set it to new body instead. This keeps the honeycomb pattern separate and easier to control later in your slicer. A good alternative to keeping the tray and the holder at the same level is to lower the tray slightly below the holder. You could do this with a new extrude, but it's cleaner to edit the original extrusion directly in the timeline. That keeps your feature tree simple and easier to manage. For a more robust setup, control the height with user parameters. That gives you full flexibility to adjust the offset later without rebuilding features, which is a strong parametric approach. We're now inside the form environment with the task of creating curvature in the soap holder. Press and hold the left mouse button to bring up the selection menu, then pick the correct face. Place a box at the center of the origin and set the dimensions to 40 by 80 millimeters. This gives you a clean base that works well as a soap reference shape. Inspect your model from different angles, then use the view cube to position yourself from the side. Press them to move the form model downward. I'll use 2.5 millimeters, but you can adjust the distance to fit your design. When you're done, finish the form edit and activate Combine in the solid modeling environment. Change the angle with the view cube, then select your soap tray as the target body and your soap as the tool body. Set the operation type to cut so the tool body cuts into the target body. Preview the result from different angles before you confirm the action. You now have one side with the cutout and another flat side. If you prefer a flat surface when the soap is new, just flip the printed tray upside down. Later, when the soap becomes smaller, you can use the cutout side for better support and grip. As the final edit, I decided to pull the inside face of the soap tray component 0.5 millimeters to make the shelf slightly larger and provide more margin for the soap tray. The print came out great, and this fast project resulted in a clean-looking and functional 3D print. I hope you enjoyed this quick approach to the design idea. This is a solid first iteration, and if you want to push the workflow further, you can add user parameters for an even smoother and more optimized setup. Subscribe to the Maker Letters for more projects like this, and make sure to check the video description and comments for tools, deals, and recommendations. See you in the next video.